It's 6 p.m. on Friday here in Korea. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Hwang Ji-hye. And these are the top stories we're following at this hour. President Park Geun-hye meets with business leaders supporting the country's innovation centers and urges them to facilitate job creation for the younger generation. And Japan's Mitsubishi Materials extends an apology to victims of wartime slavery in China. However, the silence remains deafening for Korea. And NASA unveils its discovery of the most Earth-like planet found to date, even orbiting its star at a similar distance as the Earth circles the Sun. From the initial center in Daegu that opened last September to the most recent one in Incheon, a total of 17 of the government's innovation centers have been launched over the past 10 months. Marking the occasion today with officials and the conglomerates involved, President Park Geun-hye sought their continued interest and cooperation. Our Choi You-sun starts us off.
Celebrating the completion of the establishment of 17 creative economy innovation centers around the country, President Park said conglomerates that partner with the centers should consider the initiative as means of securing a sustainable growth engine on top of fulfilling their social responsibilities. A central part of President Park's creative economy drive, each innovation center has teamed up with a conglomerate to foster startups and upgrade specialized industries in different regions to ultimately create jobs and help the Korean economy leap forward.
혁신센터가 지역 주민들이 개개인의 능력과 끼를 발휘해서 창업을 할 수 있도록 모든 정보와 서비스가 집적되는 지역 창업 생태계의 구심점이 되어야 합니다.
Referring to a disconnect between specialized job seekers and localized small to mid-sized businesses, the president said the innovation centers should collaborate with universities or research institutes to better match them up. She also urged the conglomerates to offer various programs to foster talent and to actively make new hires. As for the coexistence and prosperity of conglomerates and SMEs, the president said the Korean economy will be able to overcome challenges when startups and SMEs receiving conglomerate support begin giving back through their innovations. On the corporate side, the head of the Federation of Korean Industries vowed to help the country's young people find high-quality jobs by supporting startups and SMEs and fostering specialized industries in collaboration with innovation centers and local businesses. Choi You-sun, Arirang News.
The idea of innovation centers has been criticized as vague in the past, but progress has definitely been made since their launch. For more on what the centers have achieved so far and what they are now looking to achieve in the future, Song Ji-sun reports.
The pace may be slow, but the momentum is growing. Over 5,000 potential startups have received advice from these innovation centers. That's more than sixfold from the end of last year. Those interested in launching their businesses are now actively attending seminars run by these centers, and those that have already opened their businesses benefit from the government funding, amounting to $140 million per center. In less than a year, the centers have successfully nurtured a handful of startups. Gyeonggi-do Province Center, for example, sent 3 startups to Orange Fab International Demo Day held in Paris in June, an event organized by Startup Accelerator there, and helped 5 startups set up their booth at the Mobile World Congress held in Shanghai earlier this month. SK, in charge of running the Daejeon Center, has successfully fostered 10 startups that graduate from its program on Thursday. These startups, on average, leverage their revenue up to $1.5 million over the past 10 months, up nearly sixfold since participating in Daejeon Center's program. The competition for inclusion in the center's Startup Foster program now stands at nearly 30-1. As for upcoming plans, the government will launch an English portal for innovation centers to match domestic startups with foreign investors and set up a national database for the startups. Seoul will also hold a Creative Economy Innovation Festival at the end of next month. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
A revised version of the supplementary budget was finally approved at the National Assembly today after the bill was first proposed early this month. Hopes are that the extra budget will help boost the troubled economy, which has been deeply affected by the MERS outbreak. Our Kim Young-gil has more.
The nearly $10 billion extra budget, a slightly reduced version from its original form, will help revive the country's growth momentum and deal with the fallout from MERS and droughts. The ruling Saenuri Party hailed the passage of the bill.
As rival parties promised, we were able to add significance to the day. We hope the budget will act as nutritional supplements for Korea's sluggish economy and improve the livelihoods of the people.
The additional funds will be used to make up for tax revenue shortfalls, allocate funds for social overhead capital, which will contribute to creating more jobs, and provide funds for small and medium-sized enterprises that have been hit by decreased domestic consumption. On the issue of raising corporate taxes, the rival parties agreed to continue discussions on the matter. However, the ruling bloc is still hesitant, saying it will first wait for the government's plan for managing the fiscal deficits. In regards to the National Intelligence Service hacking scandal, controversy still remains, but the two parties agreed to be briefed by the NIS at the National Assembly's Intelligence Committee.
Controversy remains over how to resolve the NIS hacking scandal. As part of a compromise, we decided to hold briefing and testifying sessions from the NIS at 4 parliamentary committees.
However, bipartisan discord may be reignited during the process of selecting witnesses for the briefings and the panel experts that will verify the submitted data from the spy agency. The nation's top spy agency is embroiled in an escalating hacking scandal surrounding allegations of wiretapping citizens and meddling in elections. Kim Young-gil, Arirang News.
And now, with signs of the MERS outbreak abating, the Korean government is expected to declare a de facto ending to the deadly virus. Our Park Ji-won has more.
With no new MERS patients reported for 19 straight days, local media outlets here in Korea reported Friday, quoting sources from the Prime Minister's office and the Health Ministry, that the Korean government will declare a de facto ending to the MERS outbreak early next week. Prime Minister Hwang Kyo-won, scheduled to chair a pan-government meeting next Monday regarding the MERS outbreak, is expected to deliver the message that the public can go back to their daily lives without further worry of the virus. The move follows a statement from the nation's health authority on Friday that only one person remains under quarantine and will be released next Monday. Currently, 12 patients are being treated, with 11 of them already testing negative for the virus more than twice, which leaves only one patient under treatment left to be tested. The World Health Organization recommends governments declare an official end to the virus outbreak 28 days after the final patient's negative test results, which is twice the duration of the deadly virus's incubation period. Although the Korean government will comply, it is expected to declare its own de facto ending to the outbreak early next week to ease public fear and stimulate the economy, already hard hit due to the virus. During the past 2 months, since the confirmation of Korea's first MERS patient in late May, 36 people have been killed and 186 infected. The disease's fatality rate in Korea stands at 19.4%, with more than 16,000 people quarantined during the outbreak. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Shifting gears, a Japanese company plans to officially apologize and offer compensation to nearly 4,000 Chinese people it forced into labor during World War II. Mitsubishi Materials has already apologized to American forced laborers and expressed hopes to do the same for former British, Dutch, and Australian victims, but has left out Koreans. Our Hwang Sung-hee reports.
Mitsubishi Materials will compensate Chinese people over its use of forced labor during World War II. Tokyo-based Kyodo News Agency reports that the Japanese construction company will officially apologize and offer $60 million in total to the over 3,700 victims. This marks the first time a Japanese firm has agreed to apologize and pay compensation to Chinese war victims. They were part of some 39,000 people who were brought to Japan from China against their will between 1943 and 1945 to work at coal mines and construction sites. Sources say Mitsubishi will express deep remorse and offer sincere apologies to the victims. The firm will also spend $800,000 building a monument and $1.6 million to search for missing victims. Last week, Mitsubishi Materials apologized for using American POWs as slave laborers during the war. But the Japanese builder has yet to extend the same apology and compensation to Korean workers conscripted into forced labor. More than 37,000 Koreans are estimated to have been subject to forced labor during Japan's colonial rule of the Korean peninsula in the first half of the 20th century. Mitsubishi claims the situation is different because Koreans were technically Japanese citizens ordered to work under Tokyo's colonial rule at the time. Hwang Sang-hee, Arirang News.
The United States has made public its initial review of how an Army lab in Utah sent live samples of anthrax to facilities around the world, including an airbase in Korea. In response, Korea's defense ministry says it will strengthen measures to prevent such cases in the future. Our Kim Ji-yeon tells us more.
The U.S. Pentagon blamed institutional and procedural failures at a Utah military lab for the release of live anthrax sample spores earlier this year. Deputy Defense Secretary Bob Work said Thursday that its review found no criminal or malicious intent behind the shipments from the Daegu Proving Ground military lab, but added that the lab's testing rate to ensure the virus had been inactivated was low, making the system prone to error.
And there was a very short period of time between the time Daegu irradiated the sample and declared it dead, and then the viability test to conclude that it was.
Work said live anthrax samples were sent from Daegu to 86 government and private labs facilities in the U.S. and 7 other countries, including an airbase in Korea. In response, Korea's defense ministry says it will launch an investigation through Korea-U.S. Joint Working Group formed earlier this month to figure out how live anthrax could have been shipped to its U.S. Forces Korea Osan airbase. The ministry says the group will focus on how the samples were cleared and whether they were properly processed, and also to find out if they've been shipped to the country in the past. The ministry says it's considering pushing for stronger measures regarding notification from the U.S. before it ships live and inactivated anthrax into Korea. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
Looking for planets similar to ours is the first step in finding out if we are truly alone in the galaxy or not. In what has been an exciting few weeks in terms of space-related developments, scientists have discovered another possible Earth-like planet. Our Sun Jung-in has the details.
With the planet-hunting Kepler telescope, scientists at NASA have discovered a planet that is believed to be the closest match to Earth found so far. The planet, known as Kepler 452b, is located in a solar system that is 1,400 light-years from our own in the constellation Cygnus. It is the first Earth-sized planet to date, orbiting the so-called habitable zone, or the area around the G2-type star where liquid water can pool on the planet's surface.
But today we're announcing the closest twin, so to speak, to Earth 2, or the Earth 2.0 that we found so far in the data set.
What is remarkable is that it orbits at about the same distance as Earth's orbit from the Sun, taking 385 days to circle around its home star that is similar but older and brighter than our Sun. While its mass and composition have yet to be determined, previous research on planets of similar size suggests that it may be rocky. As for its age and size, the planet is known to be about 6 billion years old, 1.5 billion years older than Earth, and 60% larger in diameter with twice the gravity.
So you and I would weigh twice as much as we do now, but only until we walked around for a few weeks and lost some serious pounds.
Along with Kepler 452b, scientists have discovered 12 other possible habitable exoplanets, a step closer on the journey to finding another Earth. Sun Jung-in, Arirang News.
Planes are flying through Korea's airspace now more than ever before. The Transport Ministry says the number of flights using Korea's skyways hit a record high of over 330,000 in the first half of this year. That's up nearly 10% from the same period last year. The number of international flights at the country's airports totaled to nearly 200,000, while domestic routes topped 110,000. Flights just passing through Korea's airspace stood at about 21,000. Monthly air traffic in Korea has jumped 10% this year, with the exception of June when it grew 6% due to the MERS outbreak. And that brings us to the end of our newscast. More updates coming up at 10 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned and goodbye for now.